Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Joni Young, and if you're new here, thanks so much for joining. Today I've got something really special planned. I, like many of you out there, are huge Outlander fans. So this is something I've been wanting to do for quite a while. It's Craigh Na Dun in Scotland, and we're working on a 14 by 14 stretched canvas. A little bit different. I'm using a square canvas today. I'm going to start with white and light blue violet. I'm going to list all the colors and brushes down below in the description box for you. I've got a 2-inch angle brush. You can use a flat brush too, it doesn't really matter. And I'm going to begin applying that blue and white gently in the top right corner, and then bringing it down and around the bottom right and then the bottom left. I'm going to leave the top left a little bit lighter and come in after with some of my neon red and yellow with white. So I'm applying soft brush strokes, crisscrossing. Now you might be used to seeing me using a large round chalk brush lately, but in this case, for this background, we don't have any big puffy clouds, so it's fine just to use one of these angle or flat brushes. Right here we've got some Sunrays, so that's why it also works really well to use this kind of a brush with a flat end on it. Okay, so without washing my brush, I'm just going to pick up neon red, yellow, and white because I want to have some other tones and colors in there. I want to get kind of a smoky, dirty plum color, a little bit of brown, earthy tones going on, just to balance out all those other pretty colors. So very lightly, not blending too much. And I pull and sweep lightly into that blue, scumble diagonally. Now I've got a Filbert brush. Of course, I've washed the other brush out. I'm going to take a little bit of yellow, a little bit of red, and make a really light peach color. Now what happened here, it doesn't look peach at all, does it? It's because I ended up picking up a little bit of blue and possibly some black or other green that is left on my dirty palette from yesterday. But you know, as Bob Ross would say, happy little accidents. I actually really like this color in here, so I'm not going to change it. I'm just going to go with it, and you can see it just kind of adds to the mood of this painting. It gives that neat kind of foggy look in the background that maybe there's some forest back there and it's a light green color from the sun hitting it. Okay, so now I want to get a nice softed blended look, tone down that green and blue just a little bit, and come in with some white. Picking up some blue and white now. So there's a lot of layering in this, guys. Dusting small circles around and around. I just want to get the edges of the canvas a little bit too. I think after I'm all done this painting, I'm going to paint all the sides of the canvas, that beautiful blue color. I normally would paint the outside of my canvas as black to give it a really sharp edge to it. If I have a thicker, wider canvas that I'm using, like a deeper canvas, sometimes I will carry the painting, the landscape, whatever I'm painting, around the outside. So I'm just scumbling off a little bit of that peachy color that I've got there, creating a little sun, and then I'm going to go around it with my neon red, yellow, and a little bit of white. Again, adding some more rays of sun. What I'm after here is a beautiful glowing sun. Nothing too bright. I want to keep with that almost dreamy romantic feel that Outlander has and this specific scene in the show. And I was really on the fence about adding the ladies doing their little dance around the fire. I think I will be doing a future painting on that. That's also an image that I really love. So leave a comment below if you guys would be interested in seeing that. I'll do it anyways, but I'm just curious to know what you guys think. So I'm going to wash my brush off. I've got a little bit of blue in there, and I just want to soften this all up. I'm going to come inside that sun with bright white again. I'm blending just to make that sun pop out even more. I need to have a little bit of a darker tone outside of it, so I'm adding the tiniest bit of that blue violet, mixing it with the peachy color. And I'm going to come in with these stones now. So first I'm using my light blue violet, no water. I'm only going to use a little bit of water when I really need to blend out my paint and have more of a soft, light, thinner transparency. So I'm going to do different heights, and I'm going to enhance the image that I'm painting this from. I want to do my own take on it, and so I want to make these stones a little bit taller to give more of a feeling like I'm kind of on the grass and I'm looking up. So that kind of a perspective rather than looking down from far away, if that makes sense. So I'll be doing the light blue violet, and then I'm going to add a little bit of black, and I'm going to do some of these stones more in silhouette and shadow, adding a nice balance of light and contrast and shadow. Now I am using a Filbert brush, but it may be easier for you to use a flat brush just to get those straighter edges. Some of the stones are rounded, so it's up to you. You can kind of play around and use both brushes. Okay, so I'm going to continue to add a few more of these stones, layering over, making some of them darker. And I'll do, a few more of these. And then I think I'm going to come in with a liner brush and begin working on these trees. And I'll be switching over to my long liner brush. And I want to use a long liner brush because I'm creating long, skinny strokes for the trees. And because I'm going to cover up most of the smaller branches with leaves using my mop brush or filbert brush, I'm not going to bother switching over to a short liner brush because I'm just going to be covering up most of those lines and branches anyways. Okay, so I'm just going to wash this brush out, switch over to my favorite long liner brush. I don't know where this went, but it just kind of appeared on my desk. I thought I lost it. I looked all over my house in the studio for it, but anyways, I'm glad to have it back. So I'm using equal parts of black, a little bit of blue, and some water to help that flow nicely out of the brush, and I'm not pushing. I'm just very gently, lightly dragging and wiggling my brush around. So I'm going to do 3 trees, and then there's going to just be the indication of a little bush off to the far right there on the very edge of the canvas. So yeah, when working with a liner brush, it can be a little bit frustrating, guys. When your paint isn't flowing, it doesn't mean that you need to get more paint or push harder. It means you need a little bit more water and barely touch the canvas just with the tip of your brush. Now it's time to start coming in with the leaves for the tree. So I'm using a mop brush. You can use any size that you want. And I'm using a little bit of black. And I'm just going to tap. And notice that I did not get my brush wet first. You don't want to get the mop brush wet at first. You just want to keep that nice, round, poofy shape that it has to create all the tops on the trees. So I'm going to add a lot to these trees. I'm going to have a little bit of branches and spaces showing. If you accidentally cover up too much, which I kind of did later on, you'll see, then you can come back and do little dabs of the background sky color in there, and it'll give that illusion that there's see-through parts. So there's some easy little tricks and tips for you guys along during this video, so don't skip ahead. Now I want to have some areas here that are going to be darker, so I'm going to use more black. And I kind of wish that I had just left it like this. I like having those lighter tones, like almost a softer gray there in the background, because that also looks like there's some fog. It reminds me of, and it actually is like this in the movie or in the show. They do this dance around the fire very early in the morning when the sun is just starting to come up. So I'm going to pull in a few more branches with black, a little bit of water again. I'll just continue to layer over until I add some cobalt blue, which I thought would be really nice instead of just using straight black. I really hesitate to use just straight black. I think it's kind of boring. But this is kind of mixed in with a little bit of white. Maybe there's hints of blue that I'm picking up from the painting underneath that's still wet. So like I said, I kind of wish I just left it like this, but I do my best to correct it, and overall at the end I think it turned out quite nice. I'm happy with it. So here's my cobalt blue. If you don't have cobalt blue, it's very close to ultramarine blue, or you can also take phthalo blue and mix it with a little bit of purple. That'll also give you the same type of color that you want. You don't want a green blue, that's for sure. So I'm just going to tap in. Try to not cover too much up and leave some spaces in between. But I got a little bit carried away. Now right here I'm picking up my light blue violet with my cobalt blue, and I'm going to add a few little light taps in here indicating some trees kind of in the mist and the fog in the background. I'll soften them up in just a little bit. When I'm done using this brush, I'm going to wash it out, and that'll let me be able to, so right here I'm able, and I dried it off, like I squeezed most of the water out, and I can dust little circles, giving it a soft blended look right here. Okay, back to my Filbert brush. I'm going to make that peachy color, yellow, neon red, and white. If you don't have neon red, you can use pink. Now I'm going to add more color, so it's not just looking white back there. I want to add that pretty peachy color. I'm going to add some more around the sun, creating soft little rays. I'm going to add little bits of light in between, right in here. And then I'm going to create little sun rays peeking through. And this isn't from the image that I'm working from. This is just something I wanted to add, kind of making it my own. I encourage you guys to do that whenever you're using a reference photo, even if it's a free reference photo with no copyright. Always do something to make it your own. Add your unique twist to it. And I'm going to right here add straight titanium white. I like titanium white because it is the brightest. And I'm going to come around the outside of the treetops with yellow and white, which over top of that blue gives it kind of a greeny yellowy look that I'm not crazy about, so I'm adding some of my peach color to this. And then I'm going to pull and flick, creating soft, faint little sun rays. I'm going to add a little bit more around here, increasing more of my red. I'm going to start to use more red than yellow now. Now back to my liner brush and some black. I'm going to add a little bit more contrast in here and branches. come over some areas here with a little bit of blue violet, some white, red, yellow, that soft, fuzzy peach color. Creating more light through these trees, and then I can pull those magical rays of sun through them. Now if you're going back and adding branches with the black, you might want to be really careful before you add your sun rays through, and just kind of dry off your painting first. I always have a hair dryer, a blow dryer beside me when I need something to dry extra quick. Acrylic paint does dry quite fast, but if you're a fast painter like I am and you like to work quickly, I'm kind of one of those painters. I'm like in the moment. I just really want to go with my creative vision that I have at the time. Sometimes if we go in and take a break for a couple hours, we kind of lose that momentum. We lose that flow that we have. Art for me is all about mood and what I'm feeling at the time. And you know, our feelings are always changing. Our moods are changing a lot. Anyways, make sure you just, if you're painting like I am, dry your black off first before you apply these little sun rays. Now I'm using a small flat brush, and wherever I have those little pockets of light, I'm going to gently pull on an angle wherever I want them to be facing. So now I want to take more red and white and add more of like a peachy color here pretty soon. I'm just going to soften up those rays a bit, and then right here come in, and this is probably my favorite part. I loved how this all looked together. I love all these colors together, and yeah, I'm pretty happy overall with this painting, and I'm pretty excited about beginning my next one with the ladies dancing around. Now I don't want to lose focus on what's happening in the center of this painting, and I think this is a bit too distracting here on this side, so I'm going to soften this a little bit by just doing a light dry brush over it of that peachy color. Add a little bit more of that pink in there that I created with the neon red and white. Add some here to the sun rays. And I'm just about done this painting. I hope you guys have enjoyed watching this, and give it a try yourselves. Now if you do paint this and post it, be sure to tag me in it, and share it with me on Instagram. I love to see all your interpretations from my paintings and tutorials. Okay, so before I wrap this up, I've got a couple more things to do. I'm taking my mini fan brush, and I'm going to take my cobalt blue with some white, blend the two together quite well. I'm going to start applying some highlights on this tree just to give it some softer mid-tones here that look quite nice with that peachy color. I'm going to start adding some fog and mist down here at the bottom, and I was going to leave it like this, but as you can see from my thumbnail of this video, I added the grass and the foreground in there in sort of a silhouette with a little bit of light green. I'm just softening this up. So yeah, you guys, it's up to you if you want to leave it. It looked quite nice, I think, just with the fog, and I also like it like this. This sets those stones back, gives it a little bit more of a perspective, and I'm coming in with my flat brush here with black and yellow. So I didn't pour out another color. You can make green a very earthy green using yellow and black. And I'm pulling it up on a bit of a slant so it comes up slightly higher on the far left side. And I'm just going to make it a little bit lighter in some areas. I know it's going to dry darker. So this painting is pretty much all done. Thank you so much for joining me today, you guys, and for all of your continued support on my channel and on Patreon, Instagram, and Facebook. I appreciate each and every one of you. Have a wonderful day, happy painting, and I'll see you next time very soon in another video. Bye!